So this woman, I think it's Miss Trove. She spoke at a oversight hearing committee, gave testimony regarding government collusion and censorship. Okay, I want to make an argument about the free enterprises, though, because this is really important. So I'm going to read just part of what she said. Let me just say this: she ignores evidence, okay? Because when Elon Musk bought Twitter, there's a trove of evidence of the government colluding with Twitter and other social media everywhere. Some from the government actually working on these platforms to silence speech. But again, this is the same woman in the Democrat camp, okay, that wants to ignore all that and wants to, these Democrats want to act like, well, it's only 35% of the Americans. Right, it should be zero, though. The First Amendment, just like the Second regarding guns, should not be touched. So we already know the government colluded. End of story. If she wants to ignore that, which you'll hear in her statement here, then it's two different realities people are living in. A group of people that have, and mostly the higher educated, that have seemed to want to make up their own evidence about, because they're so politically driven into taking away rights. And then there's the common sense group that knows, no, there's tons of evidence for the colluding. Emails, all of it. It was already uncovered. So, but this is what she said. What we see here today and what we have seen from this committee over the past year is instead a politically motivated fantasy detached from reality. Members of this committee and the witnesses make grand and vague accusations about government censorship. Again, no, there's facts. But those foggy allegations, no allegations, the emails, paper trail proves it, follow the paper trail. But those foggy allegations are refuted, this is interesting though, by the facts that private social media companies moderating content on their own private platforms is not government censorship. It is those private companies exercising their own First Amendment rights to rid their platforms of disinformation. So that's what I want to mention here, because this is really important. So first of all, we know most people that understand the Constitution know the First Amendment says nothing about mis and disinformation. All free speech. Okay? If you don't like it, you don't have to listen. All free speech. It's the only way you can have a healthy society. Dictators want to bring in this idea of mis and disinformation in. Okay, so here's the problem though, is I've said for a long time, it's the private organizations, the private institutions that use their status as private free enterprise to then go on to violate others' First Amendment rights. So, first of all, it's amazingly damaging and hypocritical for any social media, but they're all doing it, to say that because I'm a free enterprise, a free private enterprise, and I'm exercising my company's First Amendment right, and the way I'm going to exercise that is I'm going to deny other people the right to the First Amendment. That's the problem here. So to me, these companies are no longer a free enterprise. Even if they didn't get in bed with the government, but they did. That's already been proven. Okay? But I'm saying put that aside for a minute here. Because many, like TikTok, and they all do it. First of all, they take down the people that are speaking the truth. Because only dictators want to silence people. But they take things down because it's under their policies, right? But if their policies are violating someone else's First Amendment rights, then they now have no longer, in my opinion, should fall under the free enterprise private entity. Because nobody, I can't deny somebody's speech. I mean, I can't. So no company here should be allowed to use their First Amendment rights on their free private platform to deny somebody else the right to the First Amendment. That's the problem. So to me, the minute they cross that line, I don't care what, they can have all the content policies they want. And this has nothing to do with crime, like some of the people, these Democrats in this committee are talking about. What about when there's a rape on a live on Facebook and a murder? Well, that's crime. That has nothing to do with free speech, okay? But if the private company wants to put in place policies where they will remove speech under authenticity and integrity or whatever it is, or mis and disinformation, then they are no longer private and they are no longer free, regardless if they are colluding with the government. Because it is wrong for this country in America, where free speech is really important to most Americans. It is wrong to have companies be allowed to fall under, I have the First Amendment rights as a free enterprise and I'm private, to then go on to deny other people the very same rights that you're using to take away from somebody else. So to me, I've said before, I think all social media should be removed from this country that's going to do that, that's going to remove speech, because they're no longer a free enterprise. Or if they're allowed to stay, and I know it seems like, well, then that's dictatorship. Yeah, but if you're disrespecting the First Amendment, then, and you're using it under the terms that you get the First Amendment rights, but you're going to deny others, then that's not somebody we want in this country. It's just not. It's not. I'm sure there's somebody out there that could make another platform where they wouldn't do stuff like that, and people would like that. But right now we don't have that kind of platform. I guess Truth, but I think Truth Shadow, I don't know. I don't post that much there. But I'm sure there's companies out there, because even the ones that say they're not doing it, no, they're shadowing people. They are. So everybody's doing it, and to me, none of them are. Even if they had not been colluding with the government, no company should be allowed to call themselves a free enterprise or a private company the moment they use their First Amendment rights to take somebody else's away. So when they become the entity that is no longer, that is using their First Amendment to deny somebody else their right to that freedom of speech, that First Amendment right, then they should be seen as, you're no longer a free agency, regardless if you're colluding with the government, and the government should put regulations or do fines, something. There should be, or eliminating them from operating in this country. Because if we let these private social medias operate in this country and be allowed to do this under their First Amendment rights, then it's wrong, because it's denying other people their First Amendment right, and nobody should be allowed to do that.